Hi friends, welcome to TechHarvesting. In today's video, we are going to have a look at using class and ID selectors with CSS, which means we can select specific elements on our website with the help of classes and IDs. For example, we want a specific h1 to be big and the all other h1s to be small in text or small in size, and maybe we want a h4 to be small and the other h4s to be very big. Or maybe we want like a paragraph which has the Roboto font and all the other elements on our web page to have the Ubuntu font maybe. And in this video we will make a small change to our website, like we'll have the Roboto font and a very big font for our main h1 at the top of our web page, and the other h1 with the contact us letters are gonna have the normal Ubuntu font with the default h1 size. So let's get started. So to get started, I have live server open in here, and I have our code in VS Code in here. So the main objective of this video is that we're gonna make this h1 big and this h1 right here smaller. So we're gonna use classes and IDs to do that, but we won't use IDs much. I'll just show you how you can use them. We'll be using classes more. So if we return back here, this is the code from our last video. We imported Roboto and Ubuntu fonts, and we specified Ubuntu for our body and Roboto for our h1, and we also changed the font size for Roboto. So now I'm gonna just get rid of this selector over here. So now if you return, all will be Ubuntu font and the default h1 size. You can see this. So now we are gonna make this one big with the Roboto font. So first we'll implement classes and then we'll have a look at IDs. So to implement the class, we are gonna go on to the h1 here. You can see it's this one with I am Nasil. So we're gonna give a space and we're gonna give the attribute of class. So this is a new attribute, and you're gonna give a class of maybe big text. So it will display as big text, but of course, if you return here, it's just going to be the same because we not select the big text in our CSS and tell that like the big text should look big. So we're going to return to our CSS and learn a new selector right now. So here we have the body selector, which selects all the elements of a specific tag. So here we're going to learn about the new one, which is the class selector. So to use the class selector, we give a dot and specify the name of the class. So if you give dot big dash text, and we have the brackets in there. If you return here, you'll see the big text in here. So now all we need to do is change the font size to make it look big. So you can just do a font dash size of 60 pixels. Yeah, so now if you return, you can see that this one is big and this one is the default h1 size. So you can just select specific elements on our web page. So we're just selecting this h1 with the class of big text, and it's going to be big. So now another thing you could do is add multiple classes. Maybe you want that h1 to have big text and Roboto font. So there are two options for doing this. One is in this big text itself, you could go ahead and give a font family of Roboto. And now if you return and just refresh, let's just wait for it to load. And you can see that now this is Roboto and this is just how it was before. But there's two ways as I told. So we'll just remove this one from here and do the second way. So we're gonna have another class in here, and in HTML, if you want to specify two different classes, you'll give a space in between. So your class will not have spaces in the name. So here it's big dash text. You cannot have a space in there. So space will just make it two different classes. So now we have a new class called Roboto dash font. And if you return here, we can create a new selector. So dot Roboto dash font. And we want it to have a font family of Roboto. So font family of Roboto. So now if you return, it's gonna become Roboto font because we specified that in here. You can see that we specified the Roboto font class, and in here we're selecting it to have the Roboto font. So now that's about classes. It's very simple. You could add more classes in here. Maybe you want to have this h4 have a class of very small text, and it will just show us very small text. You can reduce the font size. A lot of things you can do with classes. And we'll be covering a lot of extra properties in here, like font family, color. We'll be covering border, padding, margin soon in upcoming videos. So now we'll have a look at ID selectors, which works and does the same thing as class selectors. But the thing is that ID selectors are mostly used with JavaScript when compared to CSS. Anyways, I'll just show you how you can use them. So instead of giving a class, you can give an ID in here. So for example, maybe you could um, go on to this paragraph and give an ID select ID attribute in here, just like how you give the class attribute, and we're going to give an ID in here. So we will give the ID of, maybe we'll have this text as small. So we'll have a small dash text ID, and for selecting IDs we won't use dot, but we use the hash symbol. So we use hash, and we specify the name of our ID, which is small dash text. So we go here and give hash small dash text. Oops. And you're gonna give the properties in here. So maybe you want the font size to be really small, maybe 10 pixels. So now if you return, you'll see that this is really small here. So class equals, and you could have Roboto font. So now if you return in here, you'll see that it's small text with Roboto font. So that's awesome, right? We can add classes and IDs together for a particular element. So you have class and ID in here.
So that was it for this video. Thanks for watching, and make sure you like, share and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.